AI, it feels like it's everywhere, doesn't it? Phones, cars. I swear my fridge is starting to act a little too smart. But today, we're going to go deeper. We're cutting through the hype to see how AI is actually making a difference, a real difference. And speaking of real difference, you brought some interesting sources for this deep dive.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to look at how AI is really being used, out in the world, in conservation, healthcare, and get this, even education.
See, that's what gets me excited. Everyone always talks about robots taking over, but what about AI making the world, better?
Right.
Like one of these articles talks about drones, AI-powered drones, flying over the Amazon, spotting illegal logging, like as it's happening. That's AI in action.
It really is a great example of how AI is going way beyond just data crunching. It's getting involved protecting the planet, and we'll see that theme in other areas too.
So let's start with conservation, right? Climate change, endangered species, pollution, those are big issues. Can AI really make a dent in problems that massive?
Well, the scale is overwhelming, right? But that's where AI's ability to look at tons of data, huge amounts of data, that's where it comes in. Think about hurricane prediction. AI algorithms, they can now predict hurricane paths with crazy accuracy by looking at tons of data, historical weather patterns, ocean temperatures, all that stuff.
So that means, we can prepare better.
Exactly.
Faster response times.
Yep.
Potentially saving lives, resources. It's like, what is it? A superpowered weatherman.
It really is. And it's not just about predicting disasters, AI is also helping us actively combat environmental threats. There are AI systems actually being used to guide, get this, wildfire fighting strategies.
Whoa.
They're analyzing real-time data from satellites, sensors, making sure we're using resources the smartest way possible.
So we're understanding A&D responding to environmental challenges in ways we just couldn't have imagined a few years ago.
It is. And it's important to remember, these systems, they're designed with the environment in mind. You know what I mean?
Right.
Researchers are making sure that the way we collect data, whether it's from drones or sensors, it has, minimal impact on the ecosystems that we're trying to protect.
Right. Makes sense. You wouldn't, use a bulldozer to plant a flower. Right?
Yeah.
You need the right tool for the job. And speaking of delicate, what about healthcare? That's an area where AI seems so promising, but also kind of scary.
I get that. I understand the concern, Healthcare is personal, and the idea of AI can feel a little unnerving.
Yeah.
But what if AI could actually catch diseases, before you even had symptoms?
That would change everything.
Right. We're actually already seeing that with medical imaging. AI is so good at analyzing those scans, picking up on tiny little things, anomalies that even the best doctors might miss. Early detection. It's critical, especially with things like, cancer.
So that sounds amazing. But okay, what about privacy? Medical data is super sensitive. I don't want my medical history just floating around in some AI system.
You're right to be concerned. You're absolutely right. That's why the researchers, the developers, they're working really hard to build these systems that really put data security and patient confidentiality first. The goal is to use AI to personalize medicine without, compromising your information.
So it's all about that balance, isn't it, between innovating and protecting what's important.
It really is.
It sounds like they're taking it seriously, at least.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that focus on responsible AI, we're seeing that everywhere, not just in healthcare.
Which brings us to, education, right? That's where AI could really, change the game for students.
Imagine a classroom where every student gets their own, personalized learning experience, tailored to them, to how they learn best. That's the promise of AI in education.
It sounds like, a sci-fi movie or something.
Yeah.
No more one size fits all.
Right, exactly. AI can pinpoint a student's strengths, weaknesses, how they like to learn, even their interests. And then it can adjust the content, how it's taught. It's amazing. It's about making learning, more engaging, more effective for every student.
But what about the teachers? A lot of people worry AI is going to replace them, entirely. Is that something to worry about?
From what we're seeing in the research in these articles, the feeling is that AI should be a tool for teachers, not a replacement. Think of it this way. AI can handle the, routine stuff, grading, basic instruction, that kind of thing.
So it frees teachers up to focus on, the human element of teaching.
Exactly. Mentoring, developing critical thinking skills, fostering creativity and providing emotional support. AI can't do that. And that human connection, it's something students really need.
So it's not about AI versus teachers. It's about AI working with teachers.
Yeah.
To create a better learning experience for everyone.
You got it. It's about collaboration, not competition. And that idea that AI and human expertise can work together, we'll see that play out in other areas too. And that brings us to an interesting point. We've been talking about, specific examples, how AI is being used. But what about the bigger picture? How is AI going to impact society as a whole?
That's the question, right? That's what keeps me up at night. Are we all going to have robot butlers and flying cars, or is this going to be like something deeper, more fundamental?
Well, the flying cars are, still up in the air.
Right.
But one thing's for sure, AI is already changing how we live, how we work. And those changes, they're only going to get bigger.
See, that's what I think about jobs. People are worried about AI taking jobs. Is that a real worry?
It's a good question. It's a really good question. And it's something that, the research really grapples with. Some experts think that AI, it'll mostly automate tasks, not whole jobs. So, certain parts of a job might be done by AI, but others will still need, human skills.
So it's more like a shift in, I don't know, what kind of skills we need, not like robots taking over everything.
That's one way to think about it, yeah. Being able to adapt, learn new things throughout your life, that's going to be huge in a world with so much AI. We might need to learn totally new skills, maybe even switch careers.
That's a little scary, but also kind of exciting. We're all going back to school, but this time the lessons are always changing.
Right. And those lessons, they might not just be about technical stuff, creativity, critical thinking, being able to solve problems, emotional intelligence, all those things. Those are human qualities, and they're going to be even more important in the future.
It makes sense. AI might be able to crunch numbers, analyze data faster than us, but it can't, replace human intuition, empathy, or just that ability to connect with other people on an emotional level.
You got it. And in fact, one of the articles you sent talks about this new field, human-centered AI.
Human-centered AI. Okay, tell me more about that. What is that?
So it's all about designing AI systems that work with us, that make us better instead of replacing us. It's about focusing on how people use AI, making sure it's easy to understand and that it lines up with, our values, what we believe is right and wrong.
So it's about putting humans at the center of this whole AI thing, not just pushing us aside.
Exactly. And this human-centered approach, it's going to be essential as AI becomes, more a part of our lives. Think about healthcare, right? Empathy, human connection, those are so important there. Even if an AI could diagnose something perfectly, you'd still want a human doctor there to explain it, answer your questions, be there for you.
Absolutely. It's about, that personal touch, that understanding that goes deeper than just data and algorithms.
And that's why we can't leave AI to just, engineers and computer scientists. We need philosophers, ethicists, people who study society, artists, everyday people. All of us need to be involved in, shaping how AI is made and used.
So it's not just the technology itself, it's the values, the intentions behind it.
Exactly. And that's why I think this deep dive, this conversation is so important. We're not just talking about the cool things AI can do, but also, the risks, the challenges.
And how we can deal with those challenges,
Yeah, right.
How we can make sure that AI makes the future better for everyone.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so we've talked about AI now, AI in the near future, but let's get really big picture. Long term, way down the road, what are we talking about? Jetsons, robot maids, flying cars. What's the AI future look like?
Well, flying cars are, they're working on it, but these articles, they paint a pretty wild picture. AI, woven into everything we do. Imagine diseases diagnosed, treated super precisely. Everyone gets personalized education, reaching their full potential, and AI helping us solve those big problems like climate change.
Sign me up, right? That sounds, pretty amazing. But anything we should be, worried about?
Yeah.
Any potential downsides?
Of course, yeah. Any powerful technology, there's always, potential risks. Some experts are worried AI could make existing inequalities even worse.
Yeah, I've heard that concern. How would AI, how could it make things less equal?
Think about, access. AI-powered healthcare, education. If those things are only for, the wealthy, that's a problem. It could create a bigger gap between, the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess it's like any tool, right?
Yeah.
It can be used for good or bad, depends who has it, how they use it.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important. Right now, while AI is still, relatively new, we got to have these conversations. We need to be, proactive, shape the future we want.
So what can we do? How do we make sure AI is used for, good?
Well, It's a tough one, lots of pieces to it, no easy answers. But these sources, they highlight a few key things. Regulations, guidelines for how AI is developed, how it's used, that's a big one. We got to make sure it's transparent, accountable, fair.
So governments, those regulatory groups, they've got a big role to play.
Absolutely. But it can't just be, top down. The people doing the research, the development, they need a strong ethical framework, too.
So it's like building ethics into the DNA of AI right from the start.
Exactly. And that means, teaching AI developers about ethics, encouraging ethical research, making sure the tech industry has a real sense of responsibility.
Sounds like a massive undertaking, but also incredibly important.
It is. It really is. And this is where I think, our listeners, they come in. We need people who understand AI, the potential, but also the risks. People who are willing to ask the tough questions, hold leaders accountable, and fight for a future where AI is used to make things better.
So it's not just about the tech itself, it's about us. Our values, our choices, those shape how AI is used. Recognizing that, we all have a stake in this future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This isn't something just happening to us. It's something we're making together. And that's exciting, but it gives us power.
Wow, what a journey this has been. We've gone from like the practical stuff to ethics to the really big long-term impacts. It's clear it's powerful. It could completely change our world.
It really could. And as we go forward, it's so important that we do it responsibly, that we work together, and that we commit to using AI to make a better future for everyone.
Well said. And on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of AI. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you keep exploring, keep learning about this amazing, constantly changing field.